Saints Chiefs betting preview today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the Saints Chiefs game, look at it from a betting perspective, see if we can find some value anywhere. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at the odds boards. This is from VSiN. You can use any odds board you want. We're using VSiN today. If we take a look, let's go to the NFL. All right, so the game opened. The game, I believe, at one point was 8 before last week. Reopens 5.5. So we'll call 5.5 the opener. I understand if you're betting it 2 weeks ago, you got a better number. But 5.5. There's been relatively no movement at all throughout the week. I have not seen a 6. It looks like there's a 6 at the win. But I haven't seen a 6 and I haven't seen a 5. This has been 5.5 the whole way. And that's with injury report. That's with... we have the Saints injury report pulled up here. That's with Taysom being ruled out, Lemieux being ruled out, everyone being ruled out, Willie Gay being ruled out. So, the injury report, Taysom, I believe, was known because I think it makes sense that you would hold him out, make sure he's healthy for the much more important Bucs game. Lemieux was a surprise, but Lemieux is a non-factor as far as the line. So, obviously, you don't want to go to your 4th-string center, but at the same time, I wouldn't put too much stock into that from a betting perspective. If we look at the splits, let's take a look at the betting splits here. So the betting splits, the Saints are getting a majority of tickets and handle on 5.5. Now, that's notable in this situation because you would think that if they are getting... on one hand, this probably isn't enough to move the number, but if it goes to 6 with this kind of a number, then you'd be worried because you're thinking, okay, well, if 65% of people are betting on the Saints and if 56% of the betting handles on the Saints, why would it go to 6? So that's something to monitor there. As far as go to the total here, let's take a look at the total. So if we have let's see, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and we'll talk about a little bit of the game script. So total opened. Okay, let's go to the total. Boop. So the total opened 43. It's still 43. I know some people have bet down or bet the under. I believe this is a dead under game. I think the Chiefs are pretty bad offensively, pretty slow, pretty methodical, plotting, some would say. And the Saints, kind of the same. The Saints want to play like a slow, plotting, run the football kind of game. I think it's a unique game because I think Derek Carr is going to have to win the Saints the game. Derek Carr is going to have to outduel Patrick Mahomes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a high-scoring game. Chiefs games have gone under the last couple of years here since this too high safety look has been created. So I would lean under 43. So okay, this is good splits. So a majority of the bets are on the over, but a majority of the handle is on the under, which is what you want if you're back in the under. You want to be on the side of the money, not the ticket. So I like the under a lot in this game. 43 seems solid. I like that. So we would look under. Now, if we're going to player props, if we look at player props, so the way I like to do player props is I like to think about it like, all right, let's do the game script first. How do you see the game script playing out before you try and extract value? Okay, Chris Jones is the biggest difference maker on the defensive side. Our biggest problem offensively is our offensive line, specifically our interior offensive line. So what's that lead to? That leads to, well, it's hard to imagine we're going to really establish much of a running game. We're going to have to throw the football. The Kansas City Chiefs just so happen to have a not great passing defense. Okay, good. So what does that mean for us? It goes to receiving. We know Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are the two main targets for Derek Carr. We know they're averaging the 2 highest target share by far. So if we go to player receptions here. All right, Olave at 4.5, I love. Rashid at 3.5, I love. You would think both of these guys are going to get work. You would think, Olave is going to see, I would say, a minimum of 8 targets. This is a pretty efficient offense. I think my 2 favorite bets on the board as of right now would be Olave over 4.5 and Rashid over 3.5. Because the Saints are going to have to throw the football. Bottom line, they're not going to be able to just pound the ball up the middle against Chris Jones. Not to mention if you consider that the Saints are dogs. So you would think the Saints are going to be losing this game. If the Saints are losing this game, they're going to have to throw. And if they have to throw, it's going to have to be to Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. If you take both, I think you can easily win both. I don't think you can lose both. Kamara early in the week, the 228 Syndicate betting group had Kamara over 3.5 on Bet Rivers. I believe Bet Rivers had the number. I believe that's right. It was over 3.5. Obviously now it's up to 4.5. I can't recommend 4.5 when 3.5 was available earlier in the week. It is what it is. Always be shopping. So reception-wise, this fits the game script, right? The game script is Saints are going to have to throw. Game script is Chiefs have a porous pass defense. Game script is Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed get a majority of targets. Lends itself, doesn't it? Lends itself to 4.5 and lends itself to 3.5. So those, go ahead and put those on the betting board. I like that. We talked about the under. I like that. Anytime you have an under, the dog is always in play because the less amount of points in the game, and this is like really simple. I don't want to say game theory because it's not really game theory, but this is really simple. So the less points you expect in the game, the higher value each point the dog is getting. Okay, so like +7, like in Arizona and San Francisco, +7 would be crazy valuable if a game is like 38 or a total is 38, because then like each point is so valuable. In this situation with the Saints, we kind of fall into that where 5.5 is super valuable because of 43, not as valuable in like a 48.5 type total. Okay, I lean dog here. I lean the Saints. I think because of the game script of it being like a low scoring game, because of the game script of it being kind of a slugfest, kind of a plotting game. Two defensive coordinators who know what they're going to do here with Dennis Allen and Spags. Two teams that are totally fine with just kind of dinking and dunking, taking long drives. Also, two teams that are relatively efficient. So anytime you have unders, you don't want turnovers. You don't want things like that. Kansas City doesn't really turn the ball over, and Derek Carr doesn't really turn the ball over. So that's also in your favor. And I think Dennis Allen is a relatively safe coach when it comes to like punting decisions, fourth down decisions. So I think you could also get some, that also benefits the under. So bang under here. I like 43. So 43 will put on the betting board as well. And then the dog, I would lean the dog. I haven't played the dog yet. I would love a 6. If 6 pops, and a little, I mean, I'm filming this on a Sunday. It's going to go out on a Monday. I would wait. If you want the Saints, I would wait. I think there's a chance this goes to 6. The public loves betting favorites, especially in prime time, especially at home, especially Patrick Mahomes. So I wouldn't be totally surprised if a 6 popped, although that's not really great for the Saints because if the Saints do maintain a 65% ticket share and a 56% handle share, you don't want that number going to 6. That would be pseudo reverse line movement, which is always problematic for the boys. Okay, so let's look at some more stuff here. So rushing. So Kamara over 66.5. This line moved as well. I think you could have got 62 somewhere in there, maybe even lower. And now it's flown up to 66, so I can't recommend that. Jamal Williams. So this is another 228 Syndicate originated play. Dennis Allen in an interview said he wanted to get Jamal Williams more involved. Because to spell Alvin Kamara. So Jamal Williams yardage, Jamal Williams attempts may be worth it. All right, so this is BetStamp. If you're not familiar with BetStamp, it's awesome. If you're a sports bettor, absolutely use it. It's a way to show you everything. It's a way to show you props. It's a way to show you just like everything available all the time. So like if you go to like Alvin Kamara, for example, and you want to look at his rushing yards, it shows you the numbers across all books. So 66.5 is the low. And then, so that's, and you can see where it's available. Jamal Williams. So Jamal doesn't have anything up right now. Jamal doesn't have any props up right now, but that's something to monitor. Something to monitor would be Jamal carries. All right. Derek Carr. I'm also interested in him. When it comes to his like pass attempts, because if you think that this game is going to be Derek Carr through the air, then you look at pass attempts because he really hasn't had games where he's thrown the ball too much. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So if we're looking at Derek Carr, let's look at Carr here. doing this during the noon slate. So let's look at Carr stats. These averages really don't matter because of the two blowouts. But if you look at his attempts, so he had 23, 16, 25, 36. You can look at the losses. So he has 25 against Philly, 36 against Atlanta. And now they're showing 31 as the low point. It still seems a little bit high. 31 seems a little bit high. So then you think, okay, well, if I don't like that, what about his yards? So his yards are sitting at 208. 208 seems pretty nice. If you're going 239, 243, 200 in a blowout. The Chiefs, like I said, the Chiefs do have a weak passing defense. So I might look at yards over attempts. I would look passing yards over passing attempts. I'm not going to make these official plays, but I would take a hard look at 208. God, look at the difference of these numbers. Jesus, ESPN bet hanging at 224. I mean, you could get at Sugar House, you could get a 208, turn around, bet the under at 224, get yourself a giant middle. Crazy, man. Always be shopping. Like, imagine if you're only betting at ESPN bet and you're forced into taking 224.5 when you could have 208s at Bet Rivers and Sugar House, 209 at BetMGM, 210 at Caesars. Always be shopping, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so what else? I mean, I guess on the Chiefs side of things, the Chiefs are tough because they do not care how they beat you. They just want to beat you, right? So, like Travis Kelce, his receptions, guessing 5.5, something like that. Yeah, 5.5 across the board. Nothing doing there. It depends on what you think about him. You got 5.5 and 55. ESPN bet 59.5. Anytime touchdown scorer, they have that up. Oh, this is just touchdowns. So obviously over a half. You can get it. Call it plus 125. Yeah, I mean it's harder with the Chiefs because, like I said, they can change stuff up so much. Like, are you sure that Samaje Perine? Like, what do you like? Do you think Samaje Perine is going to get a ton of work, or do you think Carson Steele's going to get a ton of work? Like they don't really care, or Kareem Hunt. Like, they just don't really care. You never know what they're going to do. So player props, I would only lean towards the Saints, mostly because I also feel like we know the Saints. Field goal is interesting. Blake Groupie, field goals made 1.5. What's Harrison Butker? Would be an interesting market. I'm guessing 1.5 too. Yeah, I don't hate Harrison Butker over field goals because I think the Saints do have a bend don't break defense. I can see the Saints giving up some yardage, but kind of being taught in the red zone. Butker has a big leg. I wouldn't hate this. I would. This would be an interesting. I mean, I think both kickers would be worth looking at if you're interested in getting in the field goal market. Yeah, I just think I think the game lines up well for Chris Olave. I think it lines up really well for Chris Olave. His yards, 59.5. Yeah, I mean, difficult. It's difficult to imagine a game where Chris Olave doesn't do well. I mean, if Chris Olave doesn't do well, how exactly are the Saints going to move the football? Because like I said, do you really think that Alvin Kamara is just going to, what's his attempts at 17? 15.5? 14.5, bet 365. Pretty good number. This is the Jamal Williams effect, though, I guarantee you. Because you would think this is low, but I guarantee you the books heard the interview where they're saying Jamal Williams is going to get some work. But this also is factored in, like 15.5, you're factored in as almost a touchdown dog. So it's factored into the game script of like, well, the Saints are going to be pounding the football. Granted, the Saints have shown that even while losing, they will pound the football. And then Kamara 66.5. So he's expected to get, let's see, get the old calculator out. So he's expected to get about 16 carries. So 66, we'll say. So he's expected to have, they're expecting him to average about 4 yards a carry, which is pretty much what he's done all season. So not a whole lot of value in the rushing yards. Reception-wise, like I said, Kamara could have had 3.5 earlier. So can't recommend that one. And now it's moved across the board. Always shot, man. Always take a look at the stuff early on in the week, too. Don't wait until Sunday or Monday to bet. Let's see. So, yeah, I mean, right now, I would say I recommend, and I probably will be betting after this game. I'll probably will be betting Olave over. Probably Rashid over. Another thing you can think of is, okay, like keep game scripting it where, all right, if we're concerned about the offensive line, if we're concerned about Chris Jones, then you would think that the ball's going to come out of Derek Carr's hand pretty quick. If the ball comes out of Derek Carr's hand pretty quick, that benefits Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave's receptions. Yeah, 3.5 across the board except at Fanatics. Who the hell's betting at Fanatics? I can't even imagine what they're limiting over there. So, yeah, I love Rashid Shaheed over 3.5. I love Chris Olave over 4.5. I think you're good to go there. I would take a hard look at Derek Carr's passing yards. Like I said, I like the under. We go back to Caesars here. I like the under. I don't think we have any. Let's see if we have any game props up. Let's see. First scoring play. I don't hate the idea of like first drive up. I love the first drive bets. I always bet like first drive punt, or first drive field goal, First scoring play. I always look at the field goals. These are double results. I think you get real cute with the New Orleans wins first half. KC wins the game. Let's see. Winning margin. Will there be overtime? What else we got here? We got total. Saints are at 18.5. This is always important to remember. Teams don't land 19, right? So 18.5 is actually 20. Saints aren't going to score 19 points, right? They're either going to score like this 18.5. If you are going to go over 18.5, this might as well say 19.5. So that's like they're kind of tricking you there. It's kind of the same with 24. Like if you're betting over 24, you're really kind of saying over 27. Let's see. Got quarter bets. First quarter betting. They have first quarter totals. No. At the half. Let's see. Alvin Kamara to catch pass on New Orleans Saints drive number 1. Interesting. Jamal Williams to catch pass. Interesting, it's all pass. Big play. First drive 20 plus yard play. You got drive scores. Drive result. Okay, here you go. Saints first drive punt is minus 150. KC's first drive punt plus 110. Field goal 370. First drive achieve a first down. Wow. First drive cross the 50. These are very fun to bet. Very, very fun derivatives. Very fun. Bet them all the time. I've seen a lot of people betting Carr's interception. I've seen a lot of people saying to take Carr's over half interception. I'm not going to bet it, but throwing it out there. Let's see here. Let's see if there's some alt numbers. Chris Olave alt yards. Chris Olave alt receptions. So this is a fun like market if you want to, like if you like 4.5, right? Then you can kind of ladder them up. 5 plus 175. I don't like that. But if you think Chris Olave is going to have 8 catches, all of a sudden you're betting 5-1. What's his alt yards? Alt yards, I think he's going to have 100-yard game, 4-1. Then touchdown scorer, Alvin anytime, -135. And then Chris and Rashid are 205. First touchdown score, very fun market. Jamal, not crazy. 20-1. Not crazy. Not crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited. Remember, we're streaming tonight for the game. My official bet these. I will have action on these. Is boom, the Ravens already up 7-0. Panthers up 7-0. Colts 7-0. Dolphins, unreal. Olave. So my official, hey, go bet these. Olave over 4.5 receptions. You can get it across the board. Looks like the best duel, FanDuel, 146. 146 here. It says ESPN bet's 145, but don't put your money in ESPN bet. FanDuel 146 over 4.5, and then Rashid Shaheed over 3.5 receptions. Those two, love both of those. Bet 365 125, MGM 128, and then we'll also take a look at. We will wait to see if we can get a Saints +6, and then we will probably also be on the under of 43. Okay, all right. Let me know in the comments below what you are betting. I'm excited for the stream tonight. Excited for the game. Very pumped. I'll see you there. Peace.